Good morning to you all. It is a pleasure to be invited to address you all today. I sincerely thank Professor Rubinstein for his gracious invitation. I have worked with people experiencing poverty for the past 40 years, so I very much wish to join you at this conference dedicated to issues of poverty and inequality. In fact, I truly regret not being able to be with you. It would have been indeed an honor to participate more fully in such a prestigious conference with so many distinguished experts in the field. However, I hope we'll have the opportunity to meet at a later date, but I will touch upon that in a minute. The focus of this conference revolves around three of the most pressing global issues of our time. Poverty, inequality, and violent conflict underlie many of the headlines we see on a daily basis. It is evident that a substantial understanding of appropriate processes by which to understand these matters remains under-prioritized. Poverty confronts us with an ambiguous reality. On the one hand, many of us live in economies that are more productive, more successful, and more prosperous. Yet many people in such flourishing economies continue to experience poverty and inequalities. I would have hoped that as GDP figures increase, the number of people at risk of poverty would decrease. However, this is not happening. Taking Europe as an example, 1 in 4 people are at risk of poverty and/or social exclusion, with an expected 20 million people being in poverty trap in the European Union alone. This is indeed a worrying trend. The struggles against poverty are truly ongoing, just as the struggles for democracy, greater social justice, and better education and health services remain constant. They are also urgent. It is here that all nations in their various capacities must combine their efforts to engage in an ongoing fight against those myopic policies that exacerbate the situation of poverty and hunger. Poverty is not a matter of individual, family, or community choice or deficiency. It is, on the contrary, rooted in political, social, and economic injustices. I am under no illusion that poverty can be readily solved, given the society in which we live, the policies that inform it, and the economic interests that drive these policies. Policymakers are mainly preoccupied with overarching economic concerns and devise policies on these grounds, policies which serve the people who influence them in the first place. These strategies condition people's lives and the various social systems that govern them. It has often been argued that the rich and powerful are hardly expected to legislate on behalf of the poor. This applies to the way the world has been governed and its global social order has been shaped. The poor and the hungry of the world cannot afford our complacency or lack of action. This brings me to another matter that is close to my heart, and that is the issue of migration. Migration often touches upon the three focal points of this conference, namely poverty, inequality, and global conflict. Millions are displaced from their homes because of violent conflict, and their only hope of survival is migration. It is not a choice they make, but it is the only option in their struggle for safety. If certain political actors are to truly champion human rights, and it is their responsibility to do so, then they must rethink the way they speak about migration. When using national security as a justification for curtailing human rights, let us remember that authentic human security depends upon providing everyone with opportunities for a decent life. In essence, we must build bridges and not walls and borders. Poverty and inequality are now recognized worldwide as causes of violent conflict. Global conflict compounds already sensitive situations into a reality that is even more desperate. The sad truth is that not enough is being done to uphold the rights of vulnerable people. The international community is often slow to react. Sometimes it is even slow to condemn actions that blatantly impinge on the rights and freedoms of people. When action is finally taken, millions of lives are already adversely affected. Too little is done too late. Last year, the international community adopted the Sustainable Development Goals. That occasion was one of promise because we came together to commit our energy and resources to addressing inequality. These goals will help us move forward as one human family towards a world where each and every one of us can fully enjoy their rights. The SDGs will continue to spur a spirit of strengthened global solidarity with the participation of all countries, all stakeholders, and all peoples. In my eyes, a focus on the poorest and most vulnerable was the crux of that momentous event. Together, we must continue to strive for the elimination of poverty, true equality for all, and a peaceful world for this and for future generations. Everyone has a role to play in achieving these noble goals. Government, civil society, academia, private business, policy, and decision makers must come together to make this a reality for our communities, societies, and peoples. Conferences like today are important in facilitating and furthering this process. They help us come up with renewed energy and fresh ideas to eliminate the precarious conditions that exist around us. Such a diverse, talented, and dedicated group of scholars and activists like you coming together in this way is indeed a unique opportunity. I encourage you to speak frankly, to learn from each other, and to be imaginative in thinking about new solutions to old problems. Above all, I am confident that you can be true catalysts so that the world moves from rhetoric to action. From my end, together with my Foundation for the Well-being of Society, we look forward to learning about the proceedings of this conference and to remain engaged in the process. We invite you to consider holding a follow-up conference and to hold it in Malta. It would be an excellent opportunity to come together at the heart of so much conflict, poverty, and inequalities. Malta being at the crossroads of three main continents, to learn more how we can collaborate for the benefit of all. I sincerely hope you have a successful conference, and I look forward to welcome you in Malta. Thank you for your attention.